Now, because of the desperate need at the top, they are now using the appointed chief supply chain officers, who hopefully some of them have procurement background, to be part of the initial negotiation process, which is positive. But procurement as a whole has been relegated to the back room. This is worrying. Look at the time we spend doing our homework. I believe we should be spending between 51 and 75%. But look at what we are doing now. And it was even worse when you look at countries in Africa. We don't do our homework. So if you don't do your homework, how do you go and negotiate? Were you ever on the same page? We're not doing that. And then halfway down the line, we complain that we've been shafted. You don't know what you want, you don't know what you have, you go and negotiate, you think you've done a good deal. 5 years down the line, but this is wrong. And then you start blaming who? It's your own fault. See where who is who in the negotiation process. Look at our procurement, legal, finance, and the rising star obviously is supply chain. But procurement is really, they see you as buyers. And there's a difference between being a buyer and also being a procurer. Once the mess has been created, then they call you, see, to come and implement. And then they blame you for being corrupt. This is what has been happening, which for me is unfortunate. They are also beginning to understand the CEOs, bargaining and negotiations. They are differentiating it. Negotiations must be a core strength. They agree. So, I've told all the academic institutions that I'm involved with that we need to start preparing courses very early ASAP on negotiations for all procurement professionals. They should know what it is and know the difference between bargaining and negotiations, because that will help. Procurement professional, because they see you as buyers, basically they still are not sure. Do you need to be procurers, or let's just keep being price chiselers? Just buyers, if we want short-term gain. The team composition, the tendering, how many, even drafting the initial requirements, how many of you are involved? In most cases, look from a technical perspective. You are not there. Value chain waste. This is no-brainer. It's a fact. You do proper negotiations, you reduce value chain waste. It's a fact. Corruptive practices. If there's a proper negotiations team effort, we understand what we want, what we require, know our suppliers, you reduce this. It's very simple. And this is coming from these policy makers, some of whom are from here, and also the global CEOs. In summary, obviously, procurement, the image problem is still there, and we as a collective can change it. Finance and illegal are still very dominant, which for me is a challenge. They mean well. They are doing their jobs, but we need to be part of that trio and influence it more. Agreements and contracts are different, and we need to start educating our policymakers and CEOs. And if you want to reduce long-term joblessness, then we need to have to look at negotiations, because it will help to really create value, which will in turn lead to job creation. We need to start looking more and more at obviously doing our homework. Our ministers My hope, when I was in Kampala, they want me to come back to address the entire parliament in terms of what we can do. I believe your office should gather all the director generals. I'll leave the presentation with Lusani. Lusani, you can present it to them that this is what is going wrong and we can do it. Let not this message just be here. It should go out to those that are in key decisions, because that is the key. It's all well and good for me to present to you. After this, after 1 hour, you forget about me, you have your tea, and that's it. I'm gone. But something needs to happen more and more. There has to be consistent roadshows to the people that matter, so that we create the awareness. And then the mindset change. We all need to do introspection. What is it that we want to be? Do you see yourself as a professional, like a medical doctor, or you are just in this profession for the sake of it? Are you seen as a negotiator or just a buyer and a bargainer? You need to see yourself as a professional. Once you see yourself as a professional, you will gain the knowledge and you'll be able to do what is important in terms of value creation and this industrialization 2010 vision. I mean, I mentioned to 2030 vision rather. I mentioned to one of your, I would say one of the highest, and he just looked at me. One of the highest politicians in the country just looked at me and said, without procurement, your 2030 vision is not going to happen. You can mark my word for this. He just looked at me and said, what do you mean? I said, procurement is the key. How are we going to do that? And then I started to talk about your office and even what I've put in the book in terms of the elevation up and ministerial level. What he asked me was, but your guys are not ready. We've been engaging. I don't know how many of you people meet your ministers. We've been engaging them. We don't get much. What I've realized is that because a lot of the profession has been pushed so down into the back room, the confidence level is even gone. Of course the knowledge is there, but it's the confidence. It's not there. Because as soon as you open your mouth and say, I'm in procurement, they might think I'm even corrupt. So you not even say a thing, you just keep quiet. You are not proud to even go and talk, I'm in procurement.
Audio Jungle.